Go ahead.
Like I said, the media, our friends, we are very grateful to you. We know that you've been waiting for a while. Thank you very much for the patience. First and foremost, we want to state clearly, without mixing words, that all of us have been in Ekiti. We monitor the situation in Ekiti even before the election. The public opinion that was generated have suggested clearly the position of SDP in Ekiti State. And on the last day of the rally, it was overwhelmingly clear what the situation was in Ekiti State and who was leading in Ekiti State. We expected a very transparent election. We expected election with human face. We expected election that is full of remorsefulness, given our past records of election that we had in this country. Above all, we thought that the president and the commander-in-chief that have made several promises to this country that he wants to leave a legacy of free and fair election. What we saw in Ekiti is the president chewing back his promise. What we saw in Ekiti was the worst in the history of elections in Nigeria. We thought the last election that we saw in Kogi and Bayelsa states was a mistake. But seeing the president within a short period of time celebrating his party for winning Ekiti State was quite embarrassing to the country. We thought the president and commander-in-chief, who is the leader of the country, who is the #1 citizen of the country, and giving so many promises he has made to Nigerians, he will ensure that free and fair election is being conducted in Ekiti State. Number 2, before the election, we wrote letter to the president and commander-in-chief, appealing to him as the president and commander-in-chief, because he is the one deploying the security personnel at every location of the election. He is in charge, and that is why he's the president and commander-in-chief. What we thought is that before the commencement of the election, the president will address the country, will address the strategic stakeholders, including security agencies, and give them strict order to comply with the rules of the election. There was nothing like that. But we saw a president who was saying that he wants to leave one of his legacy is to win Ekiti State, which means the president have compromised the process already. Number 2, the ground is shifting. INEC is trying its very, very best to make sure that elections are being conducted under a conducive atmosphere. The materials were delivered as of when due. But what we saw from the videos, from the pictures that were available to virtually everybody, including the media men that are here, including the NGOs and international communities, was an election that was readied by vote buying. The danger is that the next election that is coming, majority of the people would not bother to campaign, to do anything. They will concentrate on looting public treasury, that is for public officials, or those who have other criminal ways of getting money and stock their money and just wait for election day. They will not bother about the process. They will just buy voters. And there's no great danger to our democracy than what we saw in Ekiti. We thought this kind of carnage, this kind of height of unpatriotism would have come down, but it's going higher and higher simply because there is no deterrence. This government have not created deterrence for those that are buying votes. And the president should know, and it is a record, that throughout his tenure, he has been conducting the worst election ever in the history of Nigeria. And that record will certainly go down with him, conducting the worst election ever in the history of Nigeria. I thought for a man who is a commander-in-chief that makes so many promises, he wants to leave a legacy of free and fair election, he would have done everything humanly possible. He would have put so much interest on Ekiti election because Ekiti election determines what will happen in 2023. Ekiti have 18 local governments. 16 local governments. So many security agencies were deployed. We saw a video where a ballot box was snatched. Security agencies were watching, doing nothing about it. I was touched, I was marveled. I couldn't believe that we live in a primitive era. And I couldn't believe that security agencies that are suffering from poor salary, poor allowances, could allow such kind of environment to keep on prevailing in the society where they are complaining they don't have equipment to function, they are not paid properly, they don't have proper uniform. They will allow government officials to use them to compromise a process. If the process is being compromised, how do they expect to have a better system, a better country? It's close to impossible. So we completely, comprehensively reject the result of Ekiti State. And our legal team are assembling the best facts available. They are putting everything together. We are coming up with a position based on facts available to us, and we'll challenge it legally from bottom to top. Will not allow any inch to escape. We are part of the process. We know this country, we've been part of election for several years. Part of what took PDP down is this kind of rascality, this kind of abuse. And it happened that the APC have not learned their lesson from the PDP. They are now embarking on massive rigging, rascalizing the process, reducing the process to nothing, reducing citizens to nothing, to property or to commodity that can be bought. And we are calling ourselves champions of democracy or leaders of democracy in Africa. And all the international observers have acknowledged the vote buying at its peak. I saw a video of one patriotic Nigerian, which I'm recommending to the federal government to give him an award. He intervened, snatched the money, and according to him on that video, the commissioner of police ordered him to release the money. All those evidence are there. So we are in a very state of sorry as a nation. Our democracy is maximally under threat. And I don't know who will salvage it. Because I thought the president who said he wants to leave a legacy of free and fair election would have demonstrated more than capacity and ensured there was transparency in that election. There was no transparency in the election. I was on Ekiti on the flag of there, and I saw what was happening. And then we've been also getting our facts and intelligence of what was going on a night to the election. It's only God that will save this country. If this is the kind of leaders that this country will continue to produce, then I'm sorry for our generation. We have no excuse for our children. We are not leaving any legacy behind for anybody. All of us that are here, that are above 50, we are already on our way. And then if we cannot do anything to sanitize the process, what are we leaving behind for those that are coming up? Any system that is being compromised is a major setback for the country internationally. We are isolating ourselves. The number of registered voters in Nigeria that we have is one of the highest in the world. Yet we cannot conduct free and fair election. Yesterday, if you go to the old parade ground, and today, you see hundreds of thousands of youth that are queuing just to get their PVC. And all those youth that you see, they are anti-establishment. They are anti-establishment because they are unemployed. They don't have any hope. We are graduating thousands of students quarterly. We are not creating jobs for them. And we are damaging the system that ought to have created jobs, ought to have created political environment to create employment for them. And we are worried about the kind of crime and criminality that have ravaged our country. Now, if you have a son who have graduated, you sold your property, you sent him to school, he have graduated, and there's no hope for him, certainly he will be on the street. Those who have access to government funds have weaponized poverty. The government have allowed poverty to be weaponized. So any criminal that have access to money will just buy the conscience of people who are looking for survival. This is very dangerous for the country. It is not acceptable. It cannot be acceptable. And the president should take responsibility because he is the president and commander-in-chief. He is the president who ordered for the deployment of the security agencies, from the police to SSS to army at various locations. And of course, if the president deploys such, and the magnitude of the service have taken place at the election of a state that have 16 local governments, how do you explain the Osun election that is coming? How do you explain it? Which means the voter apathy that we are recording today in the history of this country, it will be worse. You can see a state that have a registered voters of 2.something million. Only 100 and something voters will make him a governor of the state. Where will he derive the legitimacy from? Where would the legitimacy come from? Where does he expect respect from? And this is fundamentally what is wrong. This is fundamentally something that is critical and that is wrong with our constitution. I believe the National Assembly need to rework on the Electoral Act. Any state where you have registered members more than 1 million, it should be more than 50% that will be required for someone to be declared as a governor. There's no justification for somebody to have 100 and something votes and will be declared a governor of the state. And we are suffering from massive insecurity. Non-state actors have taken over our states, have taken over the country. A governor will issue an order, he will not be respected. A non-state actor will issue an order, he will be respected. Where are we creating deterrence from? And who is supposed to create the deterrence? It's the president and commander-in-chief. So the election of Ekiti is unacceptable. It will not be acceptable. We will challenge it from bottom to top. Up to the Supreme Court, we will challenge it. And we are putting our facts together. It is not acceptable. We will make every sacrifice that is necessary to restore sanity within the electoral process. So this is why we decided to address the World Press Conference, to make it very clear, without any ambiguity. We are not accepting it. It's full of fraud. Records are there, videos are there, pictures are there, and we'll challenge it. So we'll not allow this kind of impunity to continue. Otherwise, none of us will go to our state very soon. As it is right now, people cannot go to the states. Ministers cannot go to their states. They cannot go to their constituencies. Elected members cannot go to their constituencies. This is part of the reason why the country is being subjugated. Impunity, rascality, we are in power, we are in charge. You can do nothing about it. This has to stop. Nobody owns this country. We collectively own this country. The Constitution of Nigeria gave us equal right owners of Nigeria. Whether you are a president, whosoever you are, we equally own this country. You were just being privileged to be elected as the president of Nigeria. But the laws of Nigeria should not be abused. If the laws of Nigeria are abused, the history goes into your own history as the president and commander-in-chief. And you'll be recorded in our national archives. During your time, this is what happened. So, Mr. President, this is not acceptable. We will not accept it. And we have registered our protest very clearly even before the election. I have addressed press conference. I have said clearly that the president have compromised the Ekiti election because he have picked interest instead of being neutral, even though he's a party man, but he's a president and commander-in-chief. He's supposed to create a level playing field for all the political parties. Times have changed. If the leaders have not agreed, they should wait and see. The army of youth that are queuing for PVC, fighting for PVC, I saw the one in Lagos, where people are being disenfranchised to register. And what happened in the court, where the court said you cannot stop registering people, it's a fundamental signal to anybody who is in government. The revolution have already ensued. We are happy that it's not bloody, but change is inevitable. 80% of those youths are anti-establishment. So if they believe that they can loot the resources of the country and run away, they cannot carry the country away. Time will tell. But we are urging the Ekiti people to remain calm. They should not take law into their hands. This issue will be followed with due process, legal process, and will be victorious by the grace of God. Thank you very much. The candidates, things. Thank you.
Agreement with the national chairman, and I want to emphasize this country belongs to us all, and we should do everything to rescue it from the hands of desperate people who would do anything, stop at nothing, to rip it off for personal gains. What we saw in Ekiti, I don't need to describe it over and over again. It went viral. I believe this is not where elections should be. This day and age, we are in year 2022. I believe that the decision of our party to take it further is the best thing, is the most patriotic, and Nigerians should support us to do this, because this fight is not our fight alone. It is a fight for democracy. If we allow democracy to be butchered and bastardized, Nigeria will be the biggest loser. If you have questions you want to ask specifically on the elections, I'll be willing to supply answers. Thank you.
Just tell us again your organization.
Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Benga. I'm about that. But I want to know, what do you think
Okay, let me tell you, INEC was very transparent. The election process were given to us. And he said that the election is going to be manual. But there will be a finger capturing system, which is the bimodal system, or a visual capturing system, which is the accreditation process. Now, anything short of that, if you cast 1 million votes, it will not go into their record directly. And which means ultimately, if there is a litigation surrounding an election, what they have in their server that was captured either by fingerprint or by visual capturing will be the one to reconcile the manually votes that was counted. So we strongly rely on that, because we saw a video where ballot boxes were snatched. We saw a video where money were being distributed. We saw a video where EFCC arrested some people. We also saw a video where police arrested some people. Look, one event is capable of canceling an election if we are serious about election in this country. One terrible event that will discredit the entire exercise, if there is no deterrence, is capable of discrediting the whole process, discrediting the whole country. As a young person, I was one of those who founded PDP from G7. I know what we went through. We transferred the entire Nigeria. We formed a government. Because of recklessness, the PDP lost election. And part of the reason we left PDP is simply because we want to create another platform that will follow due process and sanity. And that is why throughout the election, if you go and check the record, PDP have no record of crisis throughout the election we have conducted so far. SDP, I'm so sorry. We have no record of crisis. because we avoided it, and simply because we want to respect the process. Now, in the situation whereby the rascality of PDP of the past, now APC is doing worse than that, is tripling that, simply because they want to retain power. You can only retain power when you have followership. In the situation where the kind of impunity in display will become uncontrollable, then anarchy is inevitable. What we are running away from is anarchy. Why the youth are going against everybody today is simply because there is no deterrence. And when you subjugate electoral process into a personal gain without looking at that sense of patriotism, that sense of building a strong institution, democratic institution, that we can be respected around the world, then we are gone. We'll isolate ourselves by ourselves, just the way PDP isolated themselves. They are struggling to survive. The same thing APC are going through today. So what we are saying that is far from them. We have seen improvement in INEC processes, tremendous improvement, innovations by INEC chairman. It's in public domain. But if INEC have done the very best, and that is why I've been of the opinion INEC is never an independent institution. And INEC can never be an independent institution, unless if there's a policy that they would be allowed to deploy security agencies that will be assigned to INEC as an institution for deployment, and INEC will be accountable to every officer that was deployed at the polling unit, then INEC is far from being independent. Because INEC is not the one deploying security agencies at the polling units. It is the president and commander-in-chief that deploys security agencies. And if the president can deploy security agencies, and they are not checkmating the excesses of the security agencies, how do you say INEC is an independent body? It cannot be. It cannot be. Part of the reason why people were agitating for direct transmission of results is because of these reasons. But because there's no efficient service that can deal with direct transmission of results, and because proper preparations were not made, maybe to secure service from the satellite that they can transmit even inside a hall, we have to go into manual transmission of results. So unless something is being done urgently to take care of this, we are far away from getting an average at least 50% of transparent election in Nigeria. It's far away. We are far away from it because the process is being compromised. And some of the staffs of INEC, unfortunately, as the INEC chairman is doing everything to improve INEC, make it close to a perfect process, some of the staff are compromising it. And the INEC as an institution have charged some of them to court. So this is what we are saying. It's not about we, it's about the future. The future is being compromised. And the president cannot be sitting congratulating somebody when there are videos that have went viral without ordering for investigation of what happens, just to congratulate the person. It means he have legitimized the frauds that have taken place. That's what it simply means. My generation cannot accept that. Some of us have paid our dues, we've been arrested, we've been harassed severally. We are not afraid of any arrest or intimidation. At my level, I've crossed that level. I've passed the level of intimidation by anybody in this country.
Okay, sir. Honorable.
Those who arrested them should prosecute them. That is the law. But what is more pathetic to me is that I saw a video where young girls were displaying what they got. I saw a video where an old woman was counting what she got. I actually saw a video where an old man was counting what he got. Now, my worry and my fear, not too long ago, this country have witnessed what is called NSAS. The youth fighting, struggling and struggling for a space. They've been talking about dominance of the so-called leaders, that youth have no space, they are not given opportunity. I thought that lesson is sufficient for every youth in Nigeria. to do the needful, because the future belongs to them. The nation belongs to them. And if they do not act, who will act for them? They had opportunity to cast their votes. And then they use that opportunity to sell their votes. I wonder, and I wish to see any one of them on the media complaining about bad governance. Now, those who constitute 80% of the voting strength of Nigeria that will produce the president, will produce governors, senators, House of Reps, State Assembly are youths. Now, if the youth can sacrifice their future, then I believe that they have no excuse to complain about bad governance. Maybe this will be a lesson to them to learn, or the leaders of the youths and women, to take a strong action to convince their fellow youths and youth and ladies and what have you to do the right thing for their own future. So, but in terms of prosecution, we don't have power to prosecute. Security agencies have the power to prosecute. EFCC have arrested them, they have laws to prosecute. Police have arrested them, they have laws that they can prosecute. And I saw a video going viral where a lot of pressure is being put on EFCC and others to publicize those that they have arrested with money and other things. So it's left for the security agencies to do the needful. For us, we'll do the needful as a party. Radio Nigeria had that what we are doing about Osun State. Also radio, I'm sorry. Of course, what we are doing here, before today, we've been in Ekiti, we've been campaigning, we are doing the same thing in Osun State. We are advocating for the same thing. The law enforcement agency should be patriotic enough. Unfortunately, they wear uniform as a symbol of patriotism. That uniform is a symbol of patriotism. They are being paid with public funds. The same security agencies at the point are going on strike because they are not being paid properly. No allowances. They can't take care of their children. They can't pay their school fees. They can't take them to hospital. There are no housing for them. Now, if you continue to support criminal element in the society, to compromise an institution that will restructure to take care of what you are complaining about, who will you complain to? If a security man who wears a uniform as a symbol of patriotism can allow criminal elements to have their way, then who are they going to complain to? This is the danger that we are facing. It's far beyond what people are thinking. The implications are very big, are very huge for the country. The country is in danger. So it's left for the security agencies to talk to themselves and reflect over what the country is going through. The banditry, the kidnapping, the maiming, our security agencies have been victims of it, just the way all of us citizens have been victims of it. I thought that we cannot see a man in uniform allowing illegality taking place without taking immediate action. I've never thought at this time I would see this type of thing happening, captured in a video. We have seen several ones on the roads happening. IG that is doing a lot of reform, which I must commend the IG, and I know in every organization there are bad elements, but they must grow up and they should not allow the bad eggs among them to completely tarnish the image of the security personnel. Now, the AIT said, who are we suing? I don't know why you asked that. Who are we suing? Naturally, we are suing the process. The process was faulty. And I said the legal team are working on it. The legal team naturally goes to court. We are taking the case to court. That is the final arbiter of everybody. Once there is injustice, the natural thing to do as law-abiding citizens is to go to court in the overall interest of the country. We are not taking law into our own hands. If we were to take law into our hands, we would have taken people of Ekiti to come out and protest on it. But we know eventually that will lead to some casualties. But the governor, given his pedigree, given his integrity and sincerity of purpose, did not go on air and say, look, come out and protest against this. He accepted there's a decent process to handle this. There's a civilized process to handle this. And that is why we are here today. And like I said, the legal team are working, they are collecting every evidence available. Once they are done with that, we'll also address you on what we are doing. So certainly we are going to court, not in other place. The trust asks that how do we go about the vote buying or something, if I'm right? Shafiu, right? All we can do as parties, as political parties, and all parties should take this as a matter of serious. We had IPAC meeting yesterday. It was a matter of concern to the entire political parties. If parties do not wake up and sensitize citizens about the danger of vote buying, the possibility is that no party will participate in an election and expect anything. What they will expect is that somebody who will get money through whatever means will come and buy everybody. And then the parties will end up being on their knees. The parties cannot afford to go out and campaign, which means that the democracy is likely to collapse. If you look at the anarchy that is going through the country today, the insecurity, the maiming, the kidnapping, the raping, the orphans that we are generating every day, it's an alarming rate. So when there's a situation of lawlessness, nobody is afraid of anybody. People can go and kill and clear a whole of village, nothing happens. What else do you expect? We are not likely even to be here, because everybody will be afraid to go out. So parties have a duty. Government have more duties. During the military regime, the MAMSA have been all over Nigeria, every community. Every community. MAMSA have been everywhere, sensitizing Nigerians on the policies of government. What is happening today? Where is MAMSA? What are they doing? They have changed it to National Orientation Agency. Political parties, INEC themselves, part of their budget is sensitizing citizens. We've been having campaigns convincing people not to sell their birthright. Election is a serious issue. That's why public holiday is being declared. Business, both government business and private business, are being shut down. People are asked to remain at home even if they don't have PVC. It's more than significant. It's very important to shut down a system for a particular exercise, and that exercise is being compromised. That's what it is.
Excuse me, please.
Yes.
Ordinary people, and from their looks, they are not people who can be so excited with 15,000 or 20,000. Those are the models supposed to be selling the concept of vote buying. So Nigeria is in trouble. You haven't seen. Go and put on your investigation cap. Find out where they are. And even if somebody commits a crime, what is the responsibility of police? Have they searched for them? Are they in Nigeria? Are they taking them on because they have willingly said, we participated? We are in trouble in this country. We are in trouble. This goes further than just selling of votes. Somebody is out to promote the religion of vote buying, and there must be a reason for it. Either vote buying as a decoy, or vote buying as a legal tender. Whichever way it is dangerous for the future of Nigeria. I will not say much. I want you journalists and journalists all over Nigeria to put on their investigative cap, honor the personalities of those who are involved in those the promotion exercise, find out what their motives are, and why is the police doing nothing about it? Because that's somebody has just confessed to commission of a crime. Why is the police not saying they saw it? We are in trouble in this country. And these people will wipe up democracy out of their own enthusiastic desperation. That's what I would call it.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.